I'm going to next 35 to 40 minutes, I'm going to go through a little story about my journey weaved into the concept of scaling in the US and other parts of the world if it's applicable. So let me start with this stuff here. So this is a journey that is got riding the tech waves and scaling robust ventures is basically the theme of the story. So let me go to the next slide. So when we talk about this, I get a lot of questions which say between lifestyle companies versus startups, then how does it invest in a startup? All kinds of questions that are listed over here. But really, when you go through the journey, you'll understand that there are very specific answers to some of these questions. Okay, so let me start with a little bit of my own priorities here. Like I follow the concept of ikigai like for a long time. So anytime I do something in my life or invest in a startup, the questions are 4 different circles. The world needs something that you can be paid for and you're good at it at the same time that you love. If you can get all 4 of them coming together, you have a very good existence, if you would, for a lot of things coming together. And the other thing is, if you really wish for something, the alchemist thing, which the book says, the universe will conspire to make it happen. I am one of those lucky guys in the world who happen to experience that multiple times. So next chart. So my ikigai in the 80s was to do with the wireless industry. I was at the right place at the right time to be able to do, the world needed something for doing mobile communications, and they were willing to pay for it, and I was good at it and able to, so in the ground floor, I was able to create that. So next chart. So there was a dream in the making at the time to be able to build something like that in Dallas, and essentially in 1992, I was able to create that. Next chart. So this is the culmination of that dream in the sense that I was able to bring together about 4,000 people to be able to create the world's large development of wireless communications in the telecom corridor there. Next chart. So I was also lucky enough to be able to make the first digital phone call in the world. Okay, the analog call was made by Mr. Martin Cooper from Motorola in 1973. In 92, I was able to make the digital phone call. Next chart. So scaling is something that I've been able to watch from the ground up. I'm going to tell you a story about Infosys. Infosys was in 1991. They have been around for a while. They were in the game trying to make it big. And I was the lucky guy who was able to give the first purchase order from US to Narayan Murthy. The next chart. And so this is in 92. My wife and myself, we were hosting a dinner in Bangalore and with Narayan Murthy and another gentleman from Wipro there. The next chart. And so that evening, all the founders of Infosys were there attending the dinner. You can see the younger versions of everyone that you see today there. Nandan Nilekani, Chris Gopalakrishnan, Dinesh, and Raghavan there. And next chart. So they were all sitting there. You can see my wife sitting in the back. The room, like about 200 people in the room. And they were all sitting there. And I was talking about this wave called wireless. So the reason I'm bringing this story up is there are 2 other guys in the next chart kind of shows. If you go to the next chart. So there are 2 other guys who are sitting there, Rajiv Modi and Ashok Sutta. Okay, they were sitting in the same room. And these 2 guys, if you don't know them, Rajiv Modi built Sasken. You know the Infosys story. They built it up, and Ashok Sutta. So I was fortunate enough to be the customer for all these guys and see them scale a product company or a service company. So it is not just overnight flip a switch and it goes. So that's the wisdom I want to share with you, working with these guys. So I'm also at the same time very respectful of an entrepreneur when I see them, because at that time I was in their age group hanging out as a customer and none of us knew we were going to build billions of dollars of business in the world, right? So, like I was able to do the Nortels, Northern Telecom's $5 billion business, and these guys built multiple. So I'm very respectful when I see an entrepreneur. We might be seeing the next Narayan Murthy or a Rajiv Modi in there. So that's why when I walk around here, I'm always respectful of a startup founder. Because if they have the vision, the passion, like these guys will do that. Next chart. So this is my friend, Narayan Murthy. Last year, I went to see him. We still keep in touch with each other. And we always talk about the early days and how he scaled. I have a ground floor seat to a full front row seat to how he scaled his company. So this is something that when I make my observations and comments later on, this is a background from which I'm actually going to talk. The next chart. So principle number one, you need to be in the game. So you need to ride the wave all the time. You need to be in the water. You can't, the experienced surfers never sit on the shore, and when the wave comes, they don't run in and jump. They're paddling in the water. So you need, they also don't pick up every wave that comes in. They pick the wave they like to ride in. So which is what the Infosys guys did. They were in the game for a long time, and they chose what they wanted to go after, right? So you need to be riding the wave. So next chart. And these technology things come in waves. So most of you are seeing, I'm creating a product. How does it fit into the big wave? You need to think in terms of big waves, like the digitization of communications, which is where I spend my corporate life. And that there are several waves that were going on in there. When it came to digitization of the enterprise, I said, that wave, I'm going to do it outside the corporate world. So I left the corporate cushy job and started my own company called Globe Ranger in 1999 sometime. Okay, I started that. That was for the digitization of the enterprise. And you can tell, today when I look back, that was a good call, because every presentation we heard yesterday was about digitization. India has taken the lead, and India has got a great opportunity to become the digital leader in the world. So for me to get out and do innovation here was great. So next chart. Yeah. So I left in 99, started my own company called Globe Ranger, which was at that time the world IoT wasn't even there. It was the same concept, created a platform for Globe Ranger, and then it was a venture-backed company, and grew it. And our next chart. So this is my alchemist moment. I could have never planned it for Bill Gates to show up in my booth in 2003. And the rest is history, in the sense that we have amazing things happen between Microsoft and my company. So that's, you really focus and wish for something, things like this will happen to you, right? So our biggest customer was the Department of Defense, and that's how we scaled. The product was ready, but we found a large customer base. And eventually, the next chart will show we got, the next chart is showing here is we finally got, somebody came in and said, we'll buy you, because two things. We were in the Department of Defense, the largest supply chain in the world, at the same time a technology platform that they didn't have. So it was a marriage made in heaven. Fujitsu bought my company, and then I stayed on for 2 years, and then after 2014 I sold the company. 2016 I became a freelancer trying to invest in companies and giving back kind of stuff, right? So next chart. So I looked for the next big wave, just like I'm in that play. I'm already invested in startups. I have been a startup kind of stuff. I want to look for the next big wave. Guess what? The next chart. I went and started an angel group as part of TIE in Dallas. Most of you are familiar with TIE. And from this, we figured out what is the next wave that's going to be happening. And the next chart will show, I zeroed in on, this is one of the VC firms I'm an LP on, called Calipina Ventures. You probably see the founders here in the audience or in the group here. And their conclusion was basically the India wave is real. It's going to happen. So I said, I just found my next big wave to jump in. It was the digitization of the enterprises was the middle wave that I picked up. Now I'm into the India wave, which is why I'm here. And definitely this chart will show you all the success stories that have been happening here. The next chart. So I joined the board of Turbostart, which is a global VC incubator, accelerator, all built into one. It's based out of Bangalore, in Singapore, Middle East, and US. And I became the chairman. And this is my shortcut way of riding the India wave. This presentation is not about Turbostart, but at the same time, there will be some references to it. The next chart. So now I'm going to share some thoughts and observations for it. So what is a startup? A startup is basically an experiment, okay, that you do iterate until you create a test, your business model first, and the successful business will follow. The real reason startups fail is because they don't have customers, okay? So that's basically what a startup is. We stand back. So many people say that funding is the most important part for a startup. This is a result of a lot of studies, and found out that timing and execution are the top two there. So when I invest in a company, I look for a team that can execute. And the second thing is this something that the world needs, okay? If its timing is not right, if it doesn't, the world doesn't need it today, you're wasting your money, kind of stuff. So idea comes somewhere in the middle. The business model comes later, funding comes later. You can see people always think that I have funding and I have an idea, I can scale. That's not the case. You need a team. So the next one is you have to be flexible. You adapt or you die. There are certain founders I run into who are so focused, they don't see sideways at all. So like a horse kind of stuff. So you got to be looking at what the customer is telling you. You need to adapt or you're going to die, right? And the other thing, this chart is very busy, but I'm going to highlight the thing. The people you surround yourself with has to be optimistic, flexible, with passionate, willingness to do anything, and the determination. So if you surround yourself with a wet blanket person, they will destroy this team. So you need to be having the kind of people you attract to yourself. This is after seeing multiple investments that I've done, and also my own company experience. This is the kind of quality of people you need around you. So investors always ask, there's this cliche thing, which is A team with the B idea or B team with the A idea. Okay? Always go for the team, A team with the B idea, which is much better. And I invested in Kerala very early on as one of the angel investors in a company called MobMe. I was their chairman. And sure enough, it was an A team. The idea was not world-shattering, but they did extremely well, okay, because the team could execute. So next thing is the VC business is a hit-driven business. You guys see they have that things which says out of 10, 5 will fail, 2 to 4 will make mediocre return, and 1 to 2 will return 10 times. If I invest my own money, this odds I cannot survive because my own money cannot be invested like that. They're investing somebody else's money. So the VC statistics have to be beaten. So the question is, can we beat these odds with a different strategy? Okay? And I have personally invested in startups. I don't put money in passively. I get operationally very involved. And can you take that and put it in a bigger scale to do that? And so Turbostart is, for example, just example, next chart will kind of. So an example of the problem is there are incubators and accelerators that venture studios are pretty standard, and they are short-term programs, one size fits all, those kind of things. They're not operationally involved. And the angel investors, pretty similar situation, limited capital, but they don't get actively involved, dependency on external spray and pray kind of method. So if you go to the next chart, where the Turbostart is one example of this, where it's got centers of excellence, and actually they're the operators first, financiers second. So in other words, the companies are going to be helped tremendously hands-on, just like I personally did in my own investments. This time, the company is doing that. So and they're a feeder to major VCs like Excel, Sequoia. These are the only two charts of Turbostart I would actually cover here, but since you get the message. So, but another reason why execution is important is you can see it's a multiplier. A so-so idea with brilliant execution is worth a brilliant idea with no execution. So it's pretty much known. So you can have the greatest idea and the team can't execute, your company is going to fail. Okay. The next chart. So one of the other things I will say to all the people who are trying to scale, grow the company, you're going to go through this dark swamp of despair, okay, no matter what. Okay. I was financially pretty well set before I started my company. I went through this too. 2 recessions happened, and I sweated every bullet in that time. And you need to have an outlet to handle stress well. So anybody who is starting out to scale into multiple markets and all need to have this. Things can happen. Okay, so this valley of despair can happen. This is a chart I love because it's people say, what happened? What did Netflix do? It did not kill. Many of you probably don't even know Blockbuster. Okay, the problem with them was late fees. They were going to charge people if it returned it late. Netflix came in with an online solution and killed them. Right. Same thing with the Uber. They didn't kill the taxi cab business because limited availability and fare control is what the problem was. Same thing with Apple, didn't come in and kill the music industry. The thing was, they were forced to buy full-length albums, the music industry at that time. They said, we can make the difference. So they created something totally different, value offering. Amazon, same thing. It didn't kill the retailers. Poor customer service and experience did that, right? And Airbnb is not killing hotel industry. Limited availability and pricing options are the problem, and they kill that one. And so the bottom line is technology is not the disruptor. Not being customer-centric is the problem. So please remember, if you're scaling into multiple markets, this is the problem. You need to look at it. You can go have the greatest technology in the world, but if you're not addressing the customer issues, you're not going to succeed. So some tools. Let me share some tools with you. So one of these things, you have seen these multiple versions of this lean canvas and product canvas and all this kind of stuff. You will say, oh, some founders will frown at it and say, why are you forcing me to do this? Because I don't want to fill out all this stuff. But in reality, every investment I've made, let me see if I can address. So this is one example of a CEO. I asked him to force him to fill this out. You know what he told me afterwards? George, I now understand my business a lot better, my product a lot better, because you forced me to go through it. So it was not because I wanted something on paper here. The exercise he went through to fill this out clarified things in his mind, right? So he filled it out. The next chart is I also tell people, all the companies that I invest, to fill out a business plan. It's not to get a document you can file away. It is to align the team. When the team puts together the business plan, they're going to discuss a lot of issues like, is just an idea? Does the firm have a well-defined target market? Those kind of things. You work through those things. So I religiously get them to fill them out. In some cases, they do fill out a spreadsheet of the business model, and it helps them big time, right? The other one, I use a tool which is a go-to-market strategy tool. So if you look at this in a very simple way, the demand, fulfillment to creation on one axis, then you have customer markets, existing, emerging, then obviously tactical to strategic. So if you look at, so you go on the first time, you take the quadrant in the bottom is the world you're in. You're delivering today. You're fulfilling today, the demand fulfillment. So you go to the right, you take the existing product, go to an emerging market, which is like what we're talking about here. I want to take my product that is working in the US, in the India, I want to take it to the US market. So you go horizontally to an emerging market, right? And then you also go vertically up. How do you create more demand, irrespective of the market you're in? How do I get more demand for my product, okay? The third one is the most interesting strategic one, which says, okay, I'm in very emerging market, but very highly demand generated from it. It's also strategic. So that's when you really hit the home run. Yeah, your company is really scaled into multiple markets, into something like that. So this tool is very useful. The other one many people talk about is red ocean versus blue ocean. So the crowded market where you go in is, you're competing with everybody on cost. And the blue ocean is you're redefining, you're actually making your customer irrelevant, for example. So I'll give you an example. So there's a 4-action framework within the blue ocean strategy. You can look it up in the web. So it's a new value curve. You say, what do I reduce? What do I eliminate? What do I enhance? What do I create? Kind of stuff. You go through this value curve thing. I won't belabor the point here. So if you go through the Cirque du Soleil, most of you probably watched this circus. There's no animals in it. It's a phenomenal experience. They came into the crowded circus market, and they redefined. What did they do? They eliminated star performers, animals, concession sales, all these things they eliminated. They raised the unique value venue, for example, and fun and humor, that kind of stuff. Then they created a theme. So guess what? They were able to define their value curve compared to the other guys. So Cirque du Soleil minimized star performers in the bottom, animal shows and all these things. So they were able to plot this. This is a process you go through to be able to take your business and say, how do I make my competition irrelevant? By eliminating things, enhancing some stuff, you plot your strategy this way. So I'm giving you some tools to, when you go to a different market, just enhance. So this is blue ocean versus red ocean strategy. So this guys beat the hell out of the regular circus. They can charge more. People pay a lot more to get that experience to go. So now, this may be very controversial here for some people. I come here very regularly. I talk to founders. I've asked them, where do you want to base your company in the US? The Valley, every time, the answer. Without even understanding why they want to be in the Valley. There are certain companies, the Valley makes a lot of sense. Software, kind of AI, those kind of things, it makes sense to be in the Valley. There's a gentleman who made the right decision. His name is Safil Sunny. He's got Transmeo is a company. For him, putting it in the Valley would be the most stupid decision to make. He decided to base his company in Houston because his oil and gas is his customer base. Going there and being with the Valley crowd, and if he went and put his company in the Valley, that it would have been a disaster. So think strategically, very strategically about where you want to base your company. And of course, you need to understand the country and the market dynamics. Don't just go there because Steve Jobs was there, or somebody else was there, so I need to be part of their legacy of Valley. So I'm saying don't succumb to the value infatuation. I'm sharing this with you because I talk to many founders here. When you want to go to the US, I just ask a very simple question, where do you want to go? And without even blinking an eye, 9 out of 10 are telling me San Francisco, Palo Alto. I know I've run companies in that location. It's very expensive. You don't want to be running a company which doesn't need the resources of the Valley and paying all those rents over there. You need to be in somewhere else. Okay? And that's why I'm highlighting Safil. He based his company in Houston, which is where our customer. If you're selling to the military, for example, it doesn't make any sense to be in the Valley, right? Unless there is a difference. You need to be having an office in Washington, D.C., so, and keep your product company anywhere, but you need to have a presence in the military to be in Washington, D.C., that kind of stuff. So you need to think about strategically as a CEO. Some closing thoughts. So there are 3 phases in life, and now I'm stepping back up here. So there is a learning phase in life, you earn, and then you return. So I've gone through 2 phases of that. I'm in the 3rd phase of returning right now. That's why I'm here. I'm talking to a lot of startups. So my current focus, if you look at it, I'm a retired, technically, entrepreneur. So for me, family, startups, angel investing, seeking disruptive innovations is definitely a big thing. That's why I'm here. and managing my own diversified portfolio. But on the giving back side, I do give mentoring. And I'm saying any of the experienced people who are in the audience like me, please pay attention. This is what the youngsters need. And of course, philanthropy, community, actively participation in ecosystems like here. That's why I'm very focused on this one. And remember my friend Yoda, do or do not, there's no try. So whether you do, so there's nothing like I will put my foot in the water and I'll decide I'm going to do. You need to be all in to do that. And the other thing is you need to be authentic. So I'm going to wrap this up with a couple of thoughts, like the Ikigai concept. When I invest in a company, I'm going to ask the first question, does the world need this? If they say, oh, no, it doesn't need it, but I'm just doing it for fun, and my money doesn't go in there, okay? So, and the second and third things are the team good at it? Somebody will pay for it, those kind of things come. So Ikigai is a good concept when as an investor to use. And the alchemist moment is absolutely true. It will happen. The universe will conspire to make things happen for you. Never let go of a dream. And there are two things the famous basketball coach John Wooden said, two things. One is first of all, I used to say be authentic, but he said it much better. He said, be more concerned about your character than the reputation, because the character is who you are, and the reputation is what other people think of you. Guess what politicians do? They manipulate reputation. That's because that's what they want to get the next election, they want to win, kind of stuff. Whereas the character is the constant thing. You are being authentic. As an entrepreneur, you need to be worried about the thing. And then the last thing he said was, ability will get you to the top, but it requires character to stay there. So that is basically the kind of things I'm covering. Right now, I've got a few minutes. I'm going to put something up here. Is there the contact number? I think I put something up there. Maybe not. Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to interacting with all of you. So thank you. Bye.